We are here today to mourn the death of Detective George Del Rio. I want to express our deepest sympathies to Mrs. Del Rio, her daughters, her grandchildren, on behalf of myself and the entire Montgomery County Prosecuting Attorney's Office, of whom many past and present knew and worked with George. I want to say I'm outraged and angry that we lost Detective Del Rio due to a senseless, cowardly, and most hateful, heinous act. And I want you to know that I will ensure that the full and proper justice is given to you. But today, I want to focus my remarks on Detective Del Rio. Detective Del Rio joined the Dayton Police Department as a street officer several years after I became an assistant prosecuting attorney. Those who knew George, either as a street officer, a detective, or a task force member working with our federal partners, everyone was so impressed with his professionalism, his high ethical standards, and his commitment to purpose to serve and protect. And he was genuinely a nice guy. Over the last several days, I have talked with others who knew and worked with Detective Del Rio, attorneys in my office, judges, police officers, so many, who all spoke of his ability, skills, and talent as a police officer, as well as his wonderful personal traits. As your prosecuting attorney and a partner with law enforcement, I appreciate the fact that he was a professional, a team player, and above all, a consummate perfectionist. He crossed every T, dotted every I, so that when he prepared and submitted a search warrant, there was never a problem or question. As someone who was born, raised, and has spent my entire life in this community, I grieve and hurt that we have lost someone who devoted his entire life protecting me, my family, and our community. Detective Del Rio, as well as all of the officers sitting here today, entered a profession, a career, to do a job that most people simply cannot do. And because of the dangers, burdens, and responsibilities, they don't want to do it. He did the tough work and made the difficult decisions that police officers have to do every day, every minute. A job that is required and must be done to ensure a safe, orderly, and peaceful community, and to make life better for us. When a police officer is shot, it's an assault on all of us, on the criminal justice system, on our community, and on our way of life. Such outrageous conduct is an attempt to erode the moral fiber of all of us, of our community, an attack on our democracy, on order, and on the rule of law. It cannot and will not be tolerated and will be dealt with severely. The justice system is dependent upon the fabric of the thin blue line, the men and women of local, state, and federal law enforcement. Detective Del Rio touched all levels of that fabric, forged effective and strong partnerships across jurisdictional boundaries, traveled wherever an investigation required his unique talent and expertise to go, to bring major drug dealers to justice, and in so doing, crippled illicit drug pipelines and the illicit organizations and the networks that supported them. Detective Del Rio set the gold standard of being a police officer. He embodied all of the traits that one looks for in a police officer. Whether it is executing a search warrant, making an arrest, or responding to a mass shooting, it is that bravery that police officers exhibit every day as they routinely face danger. Now, George Del Rio is a true hero. A true hero accepts the idea of sacrificing his own life every day when he puts that badge on, who does not retreat, but runs toward danger, putting his own life in peril because of his love of those he swore to protect. So now, we are faced with the difficult challenge of what we can do when we lose a hero, a loved one like George Del Rio. I think we learn from his bravery and what was always in his heart. We embrace his family and friends to comfort them in their loss, and we renew his commitment in our own lives and hearts to serve the public good, our obligation to keep our community safe, and find our own sense of bravery to move on and to serve in his memory. Brave men and women do not want us to mourn their loss because they have always been givers, not takers. They want us to give. They want us to acknowledge our love for each other, to comfort their families, their loved ones, and that every time we think or speak of them in the future, we do it with a smile. Detective Del Rio, I want to thank you for all you did for us during your short life, for the life that you led, for your example and dedication. You honored us all, and you will be missed. May you rest in peace. To Mrs. Del Rio, your daughters, your grandchildren, during these difficult days, my hope and prayers are that you may find peace and comfort in the wonderful memories you have with George. May God bless you. It is said, a person is not really dead until he is forgotten. George Del Rio, you will never be forgotten.